The customer is the one that will tell you how to sell them something, but you have to ask the right questions and then, more importantly, listen to the answer.
All right, welcome, Brad. What's going on?
Man, just kicking the new year off, getting everybody dialed in, trying to figure out, how to get places quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I love about you, Brad, so for people that don't know Brad, and if you're in this group, you know Brad, like, let's be real. If you don't know Brad, you need to research him. We're talking about the creator of friggin' Lightspeed VT. I've used that software so much, years and years of sales experience, sales guru, I would really say, Brad. And you're a huge, huge just leader in the entrepreneur and sales field. So thanks so much for taking the time to come on here. Can you kind of share with us, like, how did you get started? It's really great to look at you now and be like, wow, he's just massively successful. He must have been born that way. I know a little bit about your story, but can you share with everyone, how did you become this huge leader in this industry?
Well, originally, my dad gave me like $6 million and I blew that. No, I'm just joking. Now it's kind of like an evolution over time, but ultimately, what was the question? Like, how do I get into sales, or where I'm at now?
How did you get into sales, and also how did you get to where you're at now? It could be a two-part question, and we can dive in a little bit deeper, but like your background, like where did Brad Lee come from?
Well, I'm from a blue-collar family out of the Pacific Northwest. I dropped out of school at 16, ended up learning everything the hard way, and accidentally ended up successful. Like, again, based on laws of statistics, I probably shouldn't be. However, based on, success leaving clues, I should be, because I kind of accidentally did what I needed to do. Now that I'm a little bit older, I can look back and see everything that I did and determine, oh, okay, I see what I did. But at 17, or right around 17, I got a job doing hard labor, and I very quickly realized I don't like hard labor. I got a job at fighting what I thought was forest fires. Showed up the first day, it wasn't fighting forest fires. It was walking around with a big backpack filled with water, squirting on stumps, getting your eyes poked by smoldering limbs, and it was a crappy job. So I got poison oak, and they wanted me to show up even with poison oak, which is, kind of funny because I had a little tiny patch of it, and this guy rips off his shirt and he's covered in it, and he's like, that's part of the job. So at 17, I realized I don't like hard labor and I don't like hard work. Now, a lot of times you'll hear in these days and age, you have to work hard. Folks, I promise you don't have to work hard. If you do, it does help. But you don't have to work hard, meaning blistered hands, aching back. You can work with your mind, and that's what I define as hard work. So don't get me wrong. You do want to work. You want to put in the time and the effort, but it doesn't have to be backbreaking. So I learned very quickly I don't like hard work. So I opened up the newspaper, saw an ad for selling cars. And so I went and applied and became very good at sales. That's kind of how it started. And then after a while, I decided I wanted to help a friend of mine make money. So I trained him how to close deals and make more money. And I watched his life just miraculously change. The kids, the wife, the whole situation just miraculously improved. And I thought, man, I want to do this for more people. So I'm going to quit my job and go start a training company. And that's ultimately how I started Lightspeed. And if you look back, the lesson is this. You've all heard, you want to help other people. Well, until I was about 30, I didn't really understand that. Like, I want to get paid. That's all I want to do. Mm-hmm. So how do I get rich? How do I make money? It's always me. But when I accidentally helped my friend, I intentionally helped my friend, but I didn't really understand what help other people meant. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I was like, I don't get it. But after 30, I accidentally helped other people. I didn't intentionally say, I'm going to start helping people. Guy was a good guy, needed help. I knew how to help him. So helped him. And then wanted to start a training company because it felt so good. And I watched so many good things happen just from helping other people. And that's really when it started to explode. Well, and by the way, 8 years of hard work before it exploded, but that's really what changed.
Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love the fact that you're saying, especially now with this grind mantra, right? Everyone in this group works super hard, but on Instagram, on Facebook, everyone's like grind super hard, work super hard. And yes, that's important. But one of my favorite quotes is that if hard work's going to get you there, then every janitor would be a millionaire. And that's not the only way to get there. You got to be smart too.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, again, people ask me, I tell people all the time, I don't work hard. Like I come in around 8 or 9, I go home around 5 or 6. Is that working hard?
So what do you think makes you so successful within those hours? Like, what are your systems to really be so effective during that schedule?
Well, again, now there's a whole nother story, because once you reach a certain level of momentum and success, you know, you're able to hire better people. You have budgets, you can advertise. So it's a big difference once you're making, you know, millions of dollars. So now it wouldn't be a fair thing to say, because, you know, you just ultimately hire all the resources you need. But growing a business is really what it's, you know, that's the more trickier part. And quite frankly, I think what you do during the day, during the time that you're spending, matters. The skill set that you have matters. The mindset that you have matters. So if somebody were to put in 8 solid hours of intelligent effort versus somebody that works 16 hours a day spinning their wheels, there's the person working 8 hours will beat the person working 16. Because a lot of the times, if you just assess what you do during the day, you realize you weren't working the whole damn day anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, working hard and working long has became like kind of like a title, like kind of like a badge of honor, if you will. It was a Joe Rogan podcast I was listening to. He's like, people ask me how many hours I spend at the gym. He's like, no one gives a shit how many hours you spend at the gym. How many reps did you do? Like how many hours did you actually put into working versus just scrolling through Facebook and not doing anything? So right. I definitely with you on that. So sales, you started off in car sales, correct?
Well, I mean, at 6 years old, I sold candy bars, was pretty damn successful doing that, but I don't consider that a sales job. I developed a pitch that made adults think I was the cutest 6-year-old they ever saw knocking on their door. So they bought the shit out of everything I had to sell. But yeah, 17 was the first like technical sales job, and it was selling cars.
Love it. So what do you think made you different than everyone else that starts selling cars? Like, how did you, like, what was the change in your mindset? Was it just helping that person, or what advice would you give someone getting into car sales?
No, I mean, getting into sales period, there, you know, I can teach you a lot, but the advice I would give is to learn, seek knowledge faster, like get on more events, webinars, courses, things like this. Reach out to people that you want to be like and see if they'll coach and mentor you. Read a lot of books. Like if I could do everything over, the only thing I'd do different is I would seek knowledge faster, because I learned everything the hard way like an idiot. And then I would invest money more wisely, because I blew a lot of money. I spent a lot of money trying to impress people. And it's funny because if I had it all back, you'd be impressed. But nobody's impressed along the way. So it's you know, don't worry about what other people think about you, and don't fear judgment, you know. But sales is just a matter of listening and understanding how the process works.
Yeah, I was watching a video of you, and I think it was Ed Milet, where you did, I don't remember exactly how you worded it, but it was something where you were, as an exerciser, you're like, okay, this is a proof that salespeople are not actually listening to the question.
Yeah, well, there's active listening, and then there's just people listening. Like active listening, you're trying to understand, and normal listening is you're trying to respond. So in a lot of cases, you'll hear people on interviews, they'll respond. They're listening to respond rather than to understand. So I have an exercise that proves it, which is, you know, just a little thing that I do where I talk about a quarter, a dime, and a nickel. That's what I did to Ed, and he wasn't listening because he was interviewing. He was trying to think about what's he going to say next. So he's thinking about that. So it looks like they're listening, but they're not really listening. A customer will always tell you every single thing you need to know to sell them something. And the customer is the one that will tell you how to sell them something, but you have to ask the right questions. And then more importantly, listen to the answer. Sometimes people would show up on a car lot, for example, and say, I'm just looking. And then I'd say, follow me. You know, I'd walk them to the biggest pile of shit on the lot. How about that? And then they're going to say, I don't like it. Well, what don't you like about it? And they're going to say, well, first of all, it's old. So you're looking for something newer. Because a lot of times people will say, I don't know what I'm looking for. You ever heard of that? I'm just looking. I don't know what I'm looking for yet. Mm-hmm. Well, that's because really what they don't want to do is talk to you. So you have to be smarter than the average bear and take control and really find out what they want without asking them what they want because they haven't talked to you. So think about this. The first thing you need to do when you walk, the first step in any sale is preparation. Most people miss the preparation part. They're going to go in and they're going to start with the meet and greet or the introduction or depending on who you're learning from, sales. And nobody talks about being prepared, mentally prepared, physically prepared, knowing what your programs are. What are the other resources? Not knowing just your product, but somebody else's product, like your competitor's product. I had a lot of people leave. You know what they're leaving for? They're going to go look at the competitors. Well, why you got to go if I'm an expert on the competition too? What you really want is a relationship. What you really want is a trusted expert. So what you really want to do is build a relationship and go in for the relationship, not the sale. And that sounds counterproductive, but you want to go in and build a relationship first. You know, if you build the relationship, you're going to sell them way more than if you don't. So if all I'm trying to do is sell Stephanie today, right here on the call, I might sell Stephanie, but if I want to sell Stephanie and her friends and her brothers and her cousins and her next 5 of those products, I should be worried more about the relationship than the sale. Mm-hmm. And if I do that, believe it or not, you get the damn sale and then some.
So what does your sales process look like when you're talking about this relationship? Where do you think a lot of these sales trainers go wrong with that?
I don't know if any of them go wrong. I think some of them are just incomplete, meaning they jump. Like first thing you do is introduce yourself. No, you don't. First thing you do is prepare. What do you look like? What do you smell like? What's going on in your head? Are you pissed off at the world? Do you have a bad attitude? Is your perspective wrong? Are you ill prepared? Do you not know your content? Do you not know your product? Do you not know your incentives and your programs, et cetera, et cetera? So again, a lot of the work comes in before you meet a customer. Mm-hmm. Most sales trainers will miss that. They'll just go right to okay, so first thing you do is meet and greet, introduce yourself, introductions. That's the first thing let's talk about. And people will go in and make a poor introduction. And if you make an introduction poorly, well, then you're not going to be able to do the fact finding or gather intel is what I call it, but it's the same fact finding. Because if Stephanie doesn't like me and I start asking her questions, she might not answer them or she might lie because most people do. You know, so that relationship's key. I mean, preparation and then introduction. And then the introduction, you go to gather intel. Once you gather intel, now you're really prepared to sell them the product. Now there's the difference between sell and closing. Because a salesperson, you can greet me at the door, show me your inventory, I buy it, you sold me something, you're a salesperson. But if I don't say no, and a lot of sales trainers do not agree with this, but I don't care because they're wrong. If you don't get a no, well, then you didn't close a deal, okay? Quit trying to be cool. You're not a closer just because you got a yes. A closer's who comes in when the customer says no or there's an objection, there's a roadblock, I'm not moving forward. Well, now you better become a closer, turn into one, or go get one. Otherwise, this opportunity is walking out the door. So you better know how to close. The closing is way more important than selling because I know a lot of salespeople, very successful, but the closers are the ones that get anything. They can write their own ticket.
I love that. So how do you handle your objections? Like, what's your approach to handle, like, let's just say I'm buying something from you and I say, Brad, the price is too high. So no, I'm not going to buy it.
Well, the first thing I do is I identify it because I want to make sure I can identify and isolate the objection. So if you say the price is too high, I'd say, so if the price was more reasonable, you'd do it?
Yeah, I think so.
Now, see, she said, now again, then you said, I think so. So now I'm going to verify, because if you say yes, you just went from a no to a yes. And a closer's job is to get a no to a yes. That doesn't finish the job, but it starts the job. Right now you're saying no. I say, why not? You say it's too expensive. I want to isolate that. And I say, so if it were cheaper, you'd buy it. And then you said, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, do you know so? Because until you know so, I didn't get a yes, I got a think so. So let's pretend you would have said yes, I'll buy it. Well, then now I know the objection really is the price. That's what I call the case. Now you have a case to solve. And by the way, that's also like when you start suggesting things, you want to be careful of what you suggest, because if it works, now you have to actually do it. So if the price is too high and I can't come down on the price, and I isolated it down to it is the price, well, now that tells me one thing. If I can't come down on the price, what do I got to do?
Increase the value.
That's right. I got to build the value. So guess what? Now I got to go back to the freaking building value stage, because I didn't build the value. Because here's when a sale goes down: when the value of my product or service exceeds the value they have for the money. So when you say my price is too high, it means you don't value this very much, or at least enough. So now I leave the closing part and now I go try to rebuild value. How do you rebuild value? I would ask you questions. And again, if you don't like me very well, I'm a salesman. You know, let's face it, salespeople have stereotypically a stigma where people don't like a salesperson. I don't know why, but that's the truth. So at the end of the day, you have to be a likable person. You know what I'm saying? And before that, before you can even be a kick-ass salesman or closer, you got to like yourself. You got to have confidence. There's too many people out there, they don't even like themselves. They just don't know it. Like I always tell people, you want to make more money, shake more hands. More hands you shake, more money you make. Go meet 10 people intentionally every day this year, 2020. Go out and intentionally shake and introduce yourself to 10 new people. Just introduce yourself. Find out who they are, what they do, and tell them what you do and who you are. Mm-hmm. I'll bet you have the best year you've ever had in your damn life. Meet 10 people a day. Now someone says, well, I don't see, these are excuses. This is what I mean by mindset's important. Like, these are excuses, people. You can go meet 10 people a day. You just don't want to. So quit saying you want to double your income, because you really don't. If you really did, you'd get off your ass and go do what I'm telling you to do, because it's easy to do. Go to a mall, introduce yourself to 10 people. Go to a grocery store, introduce yourself to 10 people every single day. 2-3 weeks later, number one, you're going to be unbelievably better at introductions. Why? Because you've already done 1,000 of them. It's like, it doesn't scare you anymore. So now when you walk up to people at your work, most people are like, can I help you? Have you been helped yet? That's not how you greet somebody. But the point being is, you want to make more money this year, for sure, introduce yourself to 10 new people every day. Introduce yourself. Now, if you say, oh, I don't like meeting new people, well, why is that? Now let's go play psychology major for a minute. Why don't you like meeting new people? Well, because you're screwed up in the head. That's why. It's the truth. You don't like yourself. Why? I don't know. Maybe you freaking humped the dog when you were little. I don't know what you did, but I know you didn't do. I know that deep down you're not happy with yourself. Your mom told you were ugly. Your dad said you're never going to amount to anything. Your girlfriend said you're going to be a loser your whole life. Who knows? But you listened to it, and subconsciously, that's why they call it subconscious, because it's below your awareness. Subconsciously, it was recorded, and subconsciously, you are operating on that information. You have bad information, and you agreed with it, and you acknowledged it, and now you are stuck with it. And that's why you're never going to amount to shit, because in deep down, you don't think you deserve anything. So how do we fix that? It has nothing to do with sales training. Guess how you fix it? You fix it by repairing what was already done. So to me, confidence comes from a memory of winning, right? So if I want to be more confident, I got to start winning. So now I feel confident. I'm a winner. Like I'm a winner. So here's what I teach people. And this works, by the way. So if you guys want to write these steps down, if you happen to have a confidence issue, this should solve it. And it takes time. It takes repetition. So don't think it's going to work tomorrow, but here's how it works. Number one, you forgive yourself. Okay. Most people don't do that. We apologize. We ask for forgiveness. We forgive. But a lot of times it's never ourselves that we even acknowledge as needs forgiveness. So why would we start for forgiveness? Well, again, imagine, Stephanie, if I came over to your house and I stole your money and I left and you found out I stole it. Well, what if I want to make amends? First thing you do is apologize, right? Okay, so apologize to yourself. Then once you apologize to yourself, you basically the next day commit. You don't do this the next day. It's all the same fail swoop. But the next day commit to doing everything you ever say you'll do, you'll do. So do not commit to something. Who gets to choose, Ed? Who gets to choose?
Me.
That's right. You get to choose. So you can't blame somebody else. If you said you'll be there at 5, be there at 5. So when you ask for forgiveness, you forgive yourself. You're wiping the slate clean. Hey, listen, I apologize. Everyone deserves a second chance. I screwed up. I lied to people. I cheated on boyfriends in high school. I stole somebody's lunch money. Whatever the hell you probably did your whole life. And by the way, if you're an angel and you never did anything, it still could be possible that somebody else convinced you you're not worth it. You're not. So just, I forgive myself. Everybody's worthy. Step 2. Commit. I'm going to do everything I say I'll do, and I will not agree to doing something unless I am 100% committed to doing it. So that's the key right there. Always do what you say you're going to do. Then step 3, set yourself 10 small goals every single day. Small goals. Don't worry. You ever hear make these goals so big? Dude, don't make no big ass goals for this purpose. You want to make small goals. Stupid little small goals. Why? Because you're going to do them. Don't make yourself tired. And it's going to start showing you that you win subconsciously. Win. And pretty soon you start doing what you say you're going to do. You're accomplishing at least 10 things a day. It could be like, let's say I want to start eating better. Okay, do it. I want to start working out, getting a little more fit. Okay, do it. Do not let yourself down ever again. Do not do what you commit to do. So now what do I want out of life? Oh, I want to make more money. Okay, go shake more hands. Now, if you say in your head, I'm going to do that, and you don't, you're starting to deteriorate that confidence and that self-esteem. That's very dangerous. Don't do that. So commit. Then set 10 small goals, like get up 10 minutes earlier, walk 1 mile more, eat 1 apple better, whatever the case may be, but make them very, very doable goals, daily goals, 10. And again, you could probably do 5. 10's the number. You do 10 a day, and then every day you start doing the things you say you're going to do, committing, winning. And what happens is after about 60 days, usually takes about 60 days, people don't even recognize what happens, but after about 60 days, people will start saying, you seem different, Ed. Why, what's different about you, Stephanie? And you're like, I don't know, because you'll forget that you even did this. And then what's happening is you're starting to actually believe that you're different and that you're worth it and that you're a good person and that you deserve more. It's all happening almost deep down. So what happens is you start to expect a little more and want a little more and actually, believe it or not, feel like you deserve a little more. And then you start doing a little more accidentally. Because right now, you sometimes, believe it or not, people's subconscious, it's blocking them from making the right decisions. Like, I should go home at 5 o'clock. Oh, no, actually, let me find a reason why I can leave here at 4:30. See what I'm saying? And believe it or not, it might be dude, I don't want you here at 5. I don't think you should win. It's the subconscious. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And I think what's glorious about what you're touching on is you're like, don't say you're going to do something that you don't do. We're in this huge self-love movement where it's like, just love yourself. Yes, love yourself. But I always say, if you're in a relationship with someone who lied to you every single damn day, you probably have a hard time loving them. So how are you going to love yourself if you're consistently letting yourself down?
100%. So again, so how do you fix it? Well, you forgive yourself because you want to clean the slate, start over, commit to always doing what you say you're going to do, and then start laying 10 things down that you can accomplish every single day, and then start doing it with consistency and never stop. And 2-3 months later, you're going to start sitting up a little straighter, walking a little taller, sounding a little more brave and confident, taking more chances, shaking more hands, and pretty soon you're going to be like, damn, dude, what happened? Well, what happened is you reprogram that subconscious to say that you do everything you say you're going to do. You're a good person. You're accomplishing shit every day. You win at anything you set your mind to, you do. And all of a sudden that starts to play into your psyche and your mindset. And it's pretty soon it's like, dude, things aren't limited. Things are like abundant, and your mind changes a little bit. You start reaching a little bit more. So that's how you fix, that's how I've fixed many people's and my own confidence problem. Because I didn't even think I had a confidence problem because I developed an ego. And so what I thought was confidence was actually arrogance. And there's a big difference. The reason I'm confident now is because I do what I say I'm going to do. I'm a good person. I can help every single one of you just with my connections alone. I could introduce you to people that'll buy your shit and coach you, and, books I can tell you to read that probably freaking change you. Like, I know a lot of stuff. I can help you. I know that. Why? Well, because that's confidence. Arrogance is something completely different. So make sure you don't go arrogant. The arrogance is where you're trying to act like you're something, but deep down, you're really not. Don't do that. Just become somebody worth knowing and somebody worth having around, and become an asset. And you'll start to feel it very quickly when you do this process.
I love that. You can't bullshit yourself. I'd love to empower you guys, everyone that's in this group. Every single person has a personalized daily checklist, Brett, that we put together for every member. That's like, these are the non-negotiables in their lives, and they track it on an app, and they do nightly checklists. So with the holidays being over, I love to empower you guys to build your self-confidence by making sure that you fulfill the things that you committed to on that.
And don't make just humongous goals, okay? Most people won't tell you that. That's what they all tell you. Get these crazy 10x goals. Well, again, that works because if you're shooting for 10 and you land at 2, that you're better than if you were shooting for 1, which is the whole 10x rule. That's not what I'm saying. You want a 10x shit. You want to overreach. But at the end of the day, when it comes to preparing that confidence, give yourself 10 things that are totally attainable.
Yeah.
Like, you want to make sure that they're attainable, because if you don't do it, now it starts to deteriorate your confidence. You don't want that. You let yourself down. Hey, I need to walk an extra mile. Okay, so when you're done with whatever you were doing, let's say you did 3 miles, now you got to do 4 miles. When you do that 4th mile, man, you walk off going, yes. And then you don't do the 4th mile, you start making excuses and rationalizing. Now all of a sudden you're telling yourself. And believe it or not, now it's above the subconscious, it's conscious. And now you just choose. It's a choice. Ed, you either want this or you don't want this. Quit saying you want success, but yet you don't act like it. Because you literally have to map your actions to what you claim you want.
Yeah. Big goals, small daily habits, basically is what you're saying, right, Brad?
That's me, because again, habits are what form your life. Choices, the choices you make determine the road you'll take. I got a lot of these little one-liners that I've made up, but ultimately what it means is, like, everything boils down to a decision. You wake up, what do you eat? Where do you go? How long do you stay there? What do you wear? Did you brush your teeth? Did you comb your hair? Did you work out? Did you invest in any relationships? Did you work? Did you learn? Did you grow? Did you develop? Did you try to help people? All those are choices. And a lot of times we just don't understand how simple it really is. And you start to react instead of choose. You react based on your knowledge, based on your beliefs. Here's what's crazy. If you guys want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. Make sense? In order to change what you're doing, you have to change what you believe. period. Because the reason you act the way you act right now is because you believe what you believe.
Yeah.
So the reason why you're on this call is because you believe something. Somebody sold you something. Melissa might have said, hey, you come on here and I'll help you bust through your fears. Well, you believed her. That's why you're here. See what I mean? You weren't on here before you talked to her. So she got you to believe something different or something you wanted to believe. And now you're here. You just keep doing that at the end of the day. You want to change what you're getting, change what you're doing, or do more of it. It's one of the two, like, hey, I like what I'm getting. I'm just not getting enough. Well, then do more of what you're doing. People always think that I'm trying to be facetious when I say this, but this is the truth. If you want more, do more. Mm-hmm. So if you want more, do more. Like right now, I can interview anybody on here and show you how to double your business within a 30-minute phone call. Why? Well, because I'm going to find out what you do now to make the money you make now, and then I'm going to double whatever it is you're doing. So it's like, okay, I make money selling homes. How many people do you talk to a month? I usually talk to about 40. And how many homes do you sell? Well, I sell one. Okay, so 40 people, you sell one, talk to 80, and you'll sell two, more than likely. And usually I'm never wrong. Sometimes, by the way, you double it, and now you sell actually triple. Because now you have more referrals, you have more, I mean, it's actually bigger than double. But my point is if I'm selling cars at a car dealership and I can't control how many people I talk to, which is not the case ever, I can only talk to 100 people a month. I want to make more money. Well, get another job, because there you're limited. Just like people, if they're working here on an hourly basis, they get $20 an hour, they're allowed to work 40 hours. Dude, they need to get a commission job or start a home-based business or start an MLM or do something else, because you're not going to make any more money. Don't get on my coaching calls to try and figure it out, because there's nothing that's going to work. You get $20 an hour times 40 hours, bro. That's what you get.
Can we open this up to Q&A real quick, Brad, with everyone on here? Is that okay? I'd love to.
Give me a problem, I'll solve it. I'm like Vanilla Ice. Check out the mic while the DJ revolves it.
Yeah, that's like my life slogan. I'm not kidding. I say that all the time.
Perfect. So Sheila, did you have a question or a thought you want to share?
No, I was just like in my head agreeing with a lot of the stuff you was saying about the habits, because I just finished reading Atomic Habits. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you probably read that. No,
but I like new ideas. Atomic Habit. Who wrote Atomic Habits?
Let me look in my Audible really quick.
That's another thing, guys. Read books, folks.
But he talks about like some of the stuff like really in the same vein that you were just talking about. James Clear.
I'll go check it out.
He talks about like how you were talking about the beliefs too. He says like a lot of people focus on their outcomes. They're like, yeah, man, I want to have such big goals and I want to make like $1 million. And then like a step down from that, like on the next layer inside the onion of outcomes is your habits. He's like, the one on the inside of the onion that like people kind of overlook is your beliefs. And he's like, so it's not necessarily like which end do you start from. He's like, but if you don't modify your beliefs or like try to change them, you know, to who you like ideally want to be, he's like, you're not really going to get the outcomes that you're looking for.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, it's so crazy now that I'm quote unquote successful. Because by the way, I mean, you can be successful and make 50 grand a year. It depends on what you're considered success, because everyone's combination of success is their own.
Yeah.
Like I know a friend of mine, he thinks going out and getting a bunch of chicks every weekend. He's telling me how many chicks he's bagged. I don't think that's successful. I think that's dangerous. I think that's foolish. And again, that's just me. Dude, if that's what's successful to that gentleman, well, then that's what success is to that person. But it doesn't mean that I think it is. Same thing with money and other things. So the first thing you got to do to achieve success is really look inward and figure out what that is to you, and then quit worrying about everybody else. Most people fear judgment. That's why they don't do anything. That's why they don't say anything. That's why they don't shake a hand. You're really afraid of what people might think about you. And what's crazy is who gives a shit what people think about you? Honestly, that's why some people don't get any followers on social media. Anybody follow me here on social media? Yeah, so it's like, do you think I care what people are thinking? I don't, and I'm growing followers like 2,000 or 3,000 a week and growing. And it's because I don't care what you think about what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you what I think, and I'm not worried about what your judgment is. If I were, you think I'd act like such an idiot on there?
I love your hater shine videos, man. They're my all-time favorite ever.
We're doing more of those. Everyone that's popular with everybody. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't care what you guys think. You know why? You liking me does not make me any better of a person, and it doesn't make me any worse of a person. So once you start to realize, holy shit, man, like everybody else's opinion is really irrelevant. As long as you love yourself and you like yourself and you're ethical and moral and you know this because you know this, dude, 90% of why most people fail is one reason. They're afraid of what other people think.
Mm-hmm. And that goes right into your self-confidence thing that you're talking about too.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I had a guy come up to me one time. This is a while back. And by the way, if I say the other day, it could have been 25 years ago. But the other day, this was in high school. He said, dude, how do you get all these chicks? Because I was quite the chick magnet in high school. So I said, what are you talking about? Well, how do I get all these girls? I said, dude, how many did you ask out last week? He said, none. Okay, I can solve your problem, bro. Start asking. Like you might have to ask more than I did, but guess what? That's how you get a date. You start asking for a date, right? So ultimately that person wasn't asking anybody to go out. Why? They were afraid of being told no. And I'm thinking to myself, you are already being told no by not asking. Make sense?
Absolutely.
You want to really kind of change your beliefs to change your actions. Because if you want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. What you're doing is driven by your beliefs. Mm-hmm. So if you change your beliefs, you'll change your behavior. And if you change your behavior, you'll change your outcome.
Love it. So we got another question in here. Newton, you got your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you so much for being here, Brad. That was really, really good stuff. Two things, two-part. One, I would love your reading list because we're doing 52 books mastermind this year, and I did 24 last year, and it's really, really changed my way of thinking and looking at things, my environment, everything. The other question I have is, I have never done this. I want to raise money for a cause that I truly am passionate about and believe in, that, you know, I don't know how to get out there, you know, with people who have money to help raise that money. And even if it's a dinner at a restaurant, or a gala would be nice, but a dinner, my goal is 25,000. It's for a cause, it's for society, it's awareness that is much needed. How do you think is the best way to go do that?
Well, I mean, to be general, go out and introduce yourself to 10 new people every day.
Okay.
Because again, I mean, the 10 new people that you're meeting, how do you know that they're not passionate about the same thing you are?
Mm-hmm. And they could be, right.
I'll give you an example. Okay. I have a little thing called Close Your School Live, where we do this once a week, and I just talk to people. I gave them all an exercise to go out and introduce themselves to 10 new people. This one girl, her name's Lashana. She went out, introduced herself to 10 new people just the first day, ended up getting, again, a deal in some cases and something to her charity. So like she was passionate about a charity. First day, she met someone that ended up making a deal or helping her with that. So ultimately, when you say, how do you raise money? I mean, I can give you fundraising ideas, but at the end of the day, I don't know what town you're in. I don't know enough to give you good sound advice. So I can only be general. Go introduce yourself to a bunch of new people and find that common ground and elicit a mastermind.
Right. Okay.
Because not only do we all have money, you know, maybe I can only give you $5, someone else can give you 50,000, and you're looking for 50,000, so I'm worthless. What if you know 1,000 people with $5 or 10,000?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. Even if it's a dinner, people donate, I don't know, 2,500. It all starts adding up. And you
Yeah, I
might
mean,
have
I've
a few
seen-
in there that may want to contribute maybe a couple thousand each, you know.
I don't know if you've started a GoFundMe page, but in a lot of cases, you can start up a GoFundMe, put the GoFundMe on social media, get it shared around. Next thing you know, you raise your money just like that because you found a bunch of people that have the same passion you do.
Okay, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. Thank you.
Yeah, a
But
friend of mine.
how do I get a copy of recommended books that you just really love and can impact people's lives, way of thinking?
Well, there's a lot of those, and I've read a lot, but here's 3 that I just highly recommend right now. You want to go get, his name's Ryan Holiday, Ego is the Enemy. The Obstacle is the Way, and Stillness is the Key. Those 3 books, I highly recommend. And then he's got 5 or 6 other ones. I'd get them all personally, but those 3 for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. No, I have not heard of these. So thank you.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've heard of Robert Greene, but
No.
and I don't know what you're trying to accomplish, but Robert Greene, like my listening right now, I'll just go through my library. I'm going through. You read the 48 Laws of Power?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you want 48 Laws of Power for sure. You want Laws of Human Nature, Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Principles, Principles, Ray Dalio.
Okay, yeah.
I heard someone say Goggins, so Can't Hurt Me is a pretty cool book. And this one's that hocus pocus crap that if you believe in it, it's very, very powerful. And I do believe in laws of attraction. The Science of Getting Rich. Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. You know that that's written before Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, really?
It's really what fueled all that law of attraction. Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. Get that book and read it 100 times, and I'll bet you anything if you apply what's in there, you'll be rich. If rich is your goal.
Okay.
I like How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, and then one that's really important that most people overlook is called, if you're hiring people, I think it's called Who. I could keep going, but there's enough for you.
Yes, no, this is great.
One more that you have to read if you haven't read it, The 4 Agreements.
Yes, it's a good book.
Long ago, so I can read that again.
Yeah, and by the way, just because you read a book doesn't mean anything, folks. You need to read it more than once. Like, how many people want to go to a church where the pastor read the Bible once?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the list.
My pleasure.
All right. Sheila, did you say you had a question in the
Yeah.
chat?
I was listening to your list, and the one that I've seen come up a couple other times and other people have mentioned is the 48 Laws of Power. What did you take away from that you really thought was valuable? Because I don't think I've read a review of it or like heard anybody like talk up about it enough to like grab it, but I've seen it around.
Well, in some cases, when you read a book, it's not what you, in other words, sometimes you learn things to disprove. You learn things that you don't believe. And the more you find out what you don't believe, the more you find out who you are, and finding out who you are and what you believe is very important. So in a lot of cases, you could read a book and find value because you now know you don't believe that. Or let me try and disprove these things. But if you go through the 48 Laws of Power and you identify them, and again, really understand and learn, folks, to properly learn, it's not a one-time thing. We need repetition. Here's the 4 ingredients you need to actually learn things. You need good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. So again, if I gave you guys a book like 48 Laws of Power and you read it and then someone said, what'd you think of it? Well, I'm not necessarily going to listen to that book review from someone who read it once. You read it 75 times. You went and tried to disprove all the 48 laws of power. I'm going to listen to that person's review. Why? Because they went out and did all those 4 ingredients: good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. But the 48 laws of power, the main things that I took out of it are basically human psychology, why people act the way they act, why they respond the way they respond, the science behind it all. And Robert Greene's excellent. So if you master the 48 laws of power and implement them, you're going to crush it. Now, again, I didn't implement them all. Like, one of them is never upstage the master. Right? Now, let's use Grant Cardone as an example. Grant Cardone does his thing, says his thing. And if you guys follow me at all, you know me and him butt heads all the time. Well, he, as far as an influencer goes, much bigger than I am, right? So he would be the master and I should never upstage him. Well, I've upstaged him. And guess what? It did cost me. So that law of power is real. You upstage the master, pretty soon that master will shoo you away because they don't want to be upstaged. So just knowing that, going back through my life, applying it to every relationship I've screwed up, I think, holy shit, that's because I was being cool. I was trying to be cooler than that person. I also think it's petty of that person, but that's irrelevant. My point is, 48 laws of power teach you actual human behavior and psychology and why the people behave the way they behave. And to have the 48 laws of power mapped out, you'll start to recognize and see people's behavior based on them. And you'll go, wow, these are interesting. And by the way, they all aren't always the case. See, that's the thing. Like, I'll give you guys a question. Is it who you know or what you know?
Who you know.
Everybody agree?
More or less.
Okay, so let's say you know me, but you don't know shit. What do I care that I know you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, hey, can you get me hooked up with so-and-so? No, why? You don't know shit. You can't, there's no value there. So it doesn't matter who you know sometimes. It matters what you know, right? But sometimes you know a bunch of stuff, but you don't know the right person. So then it still doesn't matter what you know. So you know what the right answer is? Both. It's what you know and who you know. Can you bring value and do you know the right people? It's together. It's not one or the other. It's both.
I love when the answer's both.
And by the way, I always tell people to answer both. We had a Christmas party on the 19th of December. I asked everybody, would you rather have off from now till the 1st and work on the 1st? Or would you rather work up into the 1st and have New Year's Day off? And a bunch of people picked, obviously, the 2 weeks paid off, and they'll trade the 1st, which is we're normally off, versus the 1st. Only one person said both. So the person that said both, I let them have both of them off. And the person that picked the week, I gave them the week. People that picked the 1st, I gave them the 1st. And it's like the only one that won that deal is the one that said both.
Closed.
So if I say, would you rather have a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, Ed?
Both, of course.
You say both. But that's the mindset that people don't develop. They're for some reason, they're just told to pick. What do you want? You want money or you want happiness?
Both.
What do you want? Love or do you want success? Like, come on, people. It's both. It's always both. That's abundant mindset. Don't be limited in your thinking. If you don't think it's possible, it's not. That's the scary part. I have a saying that says it doesn't matter who says you can't, as long as you're not one of them.
That was a hell of an answer, man.
Why, thank you.
So you were talking a lot about basically with when you're meeting somebody or in the sales process, getting the prospect to like you, to feel comfortable with you. So what are tips or things that you've used in the past to get to that place? Like, do you have any tips that you would use to generate rapport or to get
Yes.
on that same page?
Yes, but it would be better if I just tell you to go get How to Win Friends and Influence People
Okay.
and master that book, because that will teach you a lot more than just my 1 or 2 sentence answer. But listen, when you introduce yourself to somebody, you want to be genuinely interested in who they are. And then you also want to be genuinely interesting. And most people are not interesting because they don't know themselves. They don't have direction. They don't have a goal. They don't have these things figured out. So if I met you and you walk up and you're like all nervous and all you want to know is about me, like, how do I get to know you? So when you introduce yourself, like, again, preparations before you introduce yourself to anybody, but preparation, when you walk up to introduce yourself, a lot of times, believe it or not, transparency and authenticity is what I feel always works the best. You don't have some smooth pickup line and you don't have a technique. You go in there openly and honestly trying to be interested in who they are. Like if I were going to introduce myself to you, I would start with a compliment. Believe it or not, people underestimate the power of a compliment. So if I were to be introduced to you, I might give you a compliment first and then ask you questions about yourself. I state your name a couple times so I don't forget it, most importantly, and also because you like your name. People like their name mostly, unless your name's like Hagatha. But most people like their name, use it a lot, things of that nature, if that makes sense. There's no trick, because believe it or not, you never know who you're meeting. And believe it or not, deep down, I might have been broke up by a girl that looked just like your ass. And no matter what you do, I'm not going to like you. No matter what you do. Now, you can change people's minds, but that's where the numbers game comes in. So you like yourself, you learn who you are, you become interesting, you become interested in me, and you're open and authentic, and you're just wanting to get to know me. 9 times out of 10, we will actually connect because most people, they want to talk about themselves. They want to hear their own name. They want to be given the stage. You want to listen and be interested a lot. So like, for example, if I was going to meet you, I would say, hi, Brandy, my name's Brad. Whatever, hey, I love your car. But at the end of the day, what excites you? What are you into right now? What are you promoting? I hate when people call me up and they're like, how can I be of service? Well, one of the ways you can be of service is to figure out who I am and how you can help me without asking me. Because as soon as you ask me how you can help me, well, number one, you're making me work now. I don't know. I got to think. I got to figure out, who are you? What can you do? I get so many people saying, I'll work for you for free. I probably get 10 people a day saying, I will move to Vegas, work for you for free. And the first thing out of my mouth is, what do you do? Like, what can you help with? See what I'm saying? So when it comes to building a relationship, you want to make sure that person you're interested in. Who are you, Brandy? What excites you? Tell me a little bit about your background. What motivates you? What are your passions? Next thing you know, you're listening, and I don't talk for another 45 minutes, and me and you are besties. What's funny is dude, I was flying on an airplane coming back from a trip, and there was a person next to me, and I asked them one or two questions, and they spoke the whole time. I didn't say anything except and oh really, and then what? Oh my God, no, really? We landed. I don't even think the guy knows what I did or my name. Get an email like 3 days later, from some referral that he sent me. I said, oh, he says, oh yeah, this guy was talking to me. He said he met you on a plane, said you were like freaking one of the most interesting people he's ever met. I didn't say anything about me. I just listened to them. See what I'm saying? So think How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a book about that thick. I would recommend that highly, and that will tell you all you need to know about building relationships.
Love it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Perfect. Brad, before you go, could you share with us your book that you're doing pre-sales on right now?
Well, it's called The Hard Way because it's lessons I learned the hard way, so you don't have to. Ultimately, it's about 18 chapters, and it's 18 different life lessons that I've learned that will help anybody pretty much become a better person and get more out of life. Just figure them life lessons. Like, for example, the book starts out, death is the best teacher, but we can't afford its lessons. Because at 2 years old, I was told to stay out from underneath the sink, but I just kept going in there as a 2-year-old and ended up drinking poison. Technically died, went to the hospital, which then taught me about patience. You guys think you should have patience or shouldn't have patience? Which one? Should not. Not when it comes to getting your goals, folks. Okay, listen, don't listen to Gary Vee or anybody else telling you to have patience. That's bullshit. You increase your activity, increase your action, increase. Get louder. Do not have patience. Because again, if you look up the word patience, it basically means you can experience trouble, challenge, and delay without becoming upset. Well, no, when it comes to getting your goals, you should get upset. You should increase your activity, and you should not have patience. There are times when patience comes in handy. Like if she says, give me a minute to change, I'll be right out. Hey, have some patience. Crack, it's coming. But grits, they take 8 hours or 8 minutes to cook. Well, if you don't want to be patient, they take 8 minutes, be patient. Things take time. So there is time where patience makes sense, but getting your goals and making more money and achieving your dreams is not one of them. So that's one of the first lessons I teach people is like in that book, I tell a story. It's life stories mixed with the lessons I learned from them and how to apply them to change your life the hard way.
I love it. And I saw the pre-sales online, so we can check that out online. Do you know when it's going to be coming out?
I'm not supposed to tell because I like to keep it a mystery, but probably February 15th is when they'll be shipped.
Okay.
I got about 8 more chapters to write. I've only written 10.
Okay.
So every time I go home, I write, and the weekends I'm writing. I got it all outlined. I just have to write it all, rewrite it, edit it, and then ship it off to print. But the pre-orders, only the pre-orders will be customized a special way where they're limited edition. So if you're going to end up with the book, you might as well go pre-order it and just wait because you're going to get a limited edition copy and it'll be a special copy.
Perfect. All right.
Will you be signing the limited edition?
Yeah, they'll all be signed and they'll be branded. Actually, someone got me a branding iron for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
So I'm gonna brand every single one of the book covers. They'll be limited edition. So like maybe in 10, 20 years when I'm like, Elon Musk or something, I'll put a bounty out. I'll say, I'll pay $1 million for any branded books. And only the people that pre-ordered it will ever have the opportunity to cash in.
Really look forward to supporting you by ordering your book and then also getting you some more followers and just following your brand. But we really appreciate you jumping on here.
Well, my mission is to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. So this is my pleasure, man. I'm happy you asked me to come.
Perfect. I love that mission statement too. I was reading it and I was like, that is a hell of a mission statement. So.
Well, because again, the difference between people succeeding and losing is knowledge. I'm telling you, people say, well, no, it's action. Well, again, if you have the right knowledge, you already know action's required. Mm-hmm. But listen, my dad, died kind of a broke blue collar worker. There were times where he couldn't afford necessarily all the Christmas presents for us and school clothes for us. But he was one of the hardest working people you will ever meet. My grandfather, same way. Mill workers, loggers. You ever worked in the forest? Setting chokers. I mean, I'm telling you, hard work. Worked hard their whole life. Long, hard hours. Good, ethical people. Didn't make shit. I looked and I could see shame in his eyes when he couldn't afford to get us all like what we wanted at the restaurant. Mm-hmm. So like, why was he like that? If you break it down, why? He wanted us to all get money, get the things we needed. He didn't have the right knowledge. He didn't have the right skill sets. He didn't have the right mindset. He was limited in knowledge. So my passion is just to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it, which is why, I made a deal with Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar. And as we keep growing and growing, Lightspeed's just a tool to get, track, measure, and monitor the knowledge that's out there in the world. So that's my passion. I love when people ask me to come on. I mean, I don't really care if you have 7 million on your podcast or 7 people, listening. To me, it's like, look, I think we all owe it to ourselves to give back. So one of these days, if you guys are all, multi-zillionaires, I would hope that you jump on stuff like this and hopefully save people time and or heartache. Because if I could go back, 2 things I'd do different. Seek knowledge faster. Why? I didn't do it the right way, folks. I spent way too long coming where I'm at. A lot of pain, a lot of challenges, a lot of shit that would have made most people give up. It's just not good. So seek knowledge faster. And then I would invest money more wisely. Like Grant Cardone's Cardone Capital, that's an investment fund that he started. Well, that's cash flow property. There's other things that you can do. The question is bottle service a smart move? Do you guys understand passive income? Because if you don't, again, seek knowledge. You're making $80 extra a week. That $80 over time. Here's another book, Richest Man in Babylon. If you guys read that, Richest Man in Babylon, that'll teach you everything you want to know about that. But ultimately, man, listen, everything is possible. Don't ever forget it. And that's the truth. If you want more, do more, get better, scale. And at the end of the day, man, it all breaks down to choices and you get to make them. So if you're not where you want to be, it's because you're tolerating whatever it is that you're tolerating. Mm-hmm. Like if you say, I will not tolerate a shitty car, I'd rather have no car than a shitty car. Pretty soon you'll have no car or a better car because you won't tolerate anything else. So you get what you tolerate. It's not that difficult. It just takes consistency, discipline, and belief. Your mindset's everything. Go work on the mind. The rest will take care of itself.
Love it.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate you having me.
Love it, man. Thanks so much, Brad. We really appreciate having you on here, man.
My pleasure. Peace.
New to this broadcast, my name is Melissa Jackson, motivational speaker, author, and I also do a lot of consulting for business owners, whether that's business coaching, whether that's my business accountability boot camp,